Welcome to everyone. This week's video will cover the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index for the week of February 10, 2025. Before we start, make sure you read carefully the disclaimer. I record this video Friday morning before the market close. It's been a while since I make a video on the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. To be precise, the last video was last year on April 1, 2024. Basically, the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index matched the S&P 500. But for different reasons, some traders feel more comfortable trading the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. That's the reason of this video. The 20 days cycle. The last major low on the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index was on January 13, 2025, when the index formed his 20-week cycle low. Due to the Hurst synchronicity principle, all the lower time frame also formed their lows at the same time. Since this low, the Dow Jones Industrial Average crossed above his cycle line at 42,678 and provide a potential upside target at 43,512, 834 points or 1.95%. 2 days later, the Dow Jones Industrial Average made his target for a profit of 834 points in only 2 days. This was the first trading signal for this year, and this signal was a success, giving a 100% success rate so far, for this beginning of the year. On February 3, 3 days later than expected, the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index formed his first 20 days cycle low. And as expected for the first low after a major low, the market found support on his cycle line. Since this low formation, the rebound was very weak. The next 20 days cycle low is expected on February 21. During the next low formation, the market should cross below his cycle line, providing a downside target. Here the cycle line for this week and their potential targets if the market cross below this week. From the January 13 low to the February 3 low, I draw the 20 days cycle trend line. When the market will cross below it, this will confirm the 20 days cycle peak has formed. But not only the 20 days but also the 40 days cycle peak. If the February 6 high was the 20 days cycle peak, then we can expect a sharp correction. Because the peak will occur on the left part of the cycle, which is negative for the market. Since we use the 20 days cycle line to trade the 80 days cycle, during the 80 days cycle analysis, we will have more details about what to expect for this 20 days cycle. The 40 days cycle. The last 40 days cycle formed his low on January 13, 2025. The next one is expected to form on February 16. On January 16, the Dow Jones Industrial Average crossed above his cycle lines at 42,706 and 43,128. At the same time, the crossing provided a target zone between 44,411 and 43,567. The next day, the Dow Jones Industrial Average entered the target zone and continue his rally to the 45,054 high, short of 19.27 points to make a new all-time high. This is the first sign of some weakness coming to the market. Technically, at the time of the first 40 days cycle low formation after a major low, the market should find support on his cycle line. But since it looks like the market start to losing steam, there is a possibility the Dow Jones Industrial Average will cross below his 40 days cycle line. The weakness will be confirmed if the 45,054 high is the 40 days cycle peak. In this case, the 40 days cycle peak will be on the left part of the cycle. We call that left time translation, which is negative for the market. Here the cycle lines and their potential targets if the market cross below his cycle lines this week. The 80 days cycle. On January 13, the Dow Jones Industrial Average formed his last 80 days cycle low. On January 23, the market crossed above his cycle lines at 43,996 and 44,165, providing an upside target zone between 46,486 and 46,148, a new all-time high. It is very important to watch where the market will form his next 80 days cycle low. Technically, the Dow Jones Industrial Average should form his low on his cycle line on March 20, on the vertical purple dashed line. For now, it's still a little bit too early to know where they're going to be on March 20. We will have this information by the end of this week. It is crucial the Dow Jones Industrial Average stay above his cycle line during the formation of the 40 and 80 days low. Let's see on the roadmap what we can expect for the next 2 months. This 80 days low started on the January 13th. Then like expected crossed above his cycle line at 42,678, providing a 43,512 target. On January 31st, the Dow Jones Industrial Average formed his peak at 45,054. As expected, the market formed his 20 days low on his cycle line, but 3 days later than expected. Then the market started a new rally on his way to the 40 days cycle peak. It is very important to know where the market 40 days peak will occur compared to the cycle peak. The cycle peak is expected on February 2nd. If the market form his peak before this date, this will be negative for the market and we can expect a sharp correction. If it's happened on the right part of the cycle, at least 3 or 4 days after the February 2nd, then we can expect a moderate correction. When the 40 days peak will be confirmed, the Dow Jones Industrial Average will cross below his cycle line, providing a downside target for the 40 days low. After the formation of the 40 days low will be confirmed, the market will cross back above his cycle line, providing an upside target for the 80 days peak. After the 80 days peak will be formed, the Dow Jones Industrial Average will cross again below his cycle line, giving a target for the 80 days low. Before reaching his 80 days low, the market will perform a first low around beginning of March. Then will rally toward his cycle line and using it as resistance, before resuming his decline, on his way to the 80 days low on March 20th. It is very important this low occur on or above his cycle lines. For the longer time frame analysis, like the 20 and 40 week cycle, I suggest to watch my videos on the S&P 500. In conclusion, the overall market is in top formation phase and very soon should start a major correction. This correction should be at least an 18-month cycle. We can expect this correction end around the 3rd of May. For more details on the shorter term or about how the cycles work in the stock market, I recommend to visit my website, Tradingmarketcycles.com. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up, share the video. This will help my channel. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss any important information. Thank you to follow me and see you next week for a new video. Welcome to everyone.